and we can all take a kind of a personal responsibility about prioritizing what we feel we need to speak up.
Okay.
Any other comments on that?
I just wanted to put that Brad asked me to take notes, and I like to take notes anyway, so that's why I'm furiously scribbling.
Right. And thanks for doing that. Did you have something to say?
No, just that sounds good.
And you're comfortable starting, Mary?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to show off my name badge first here. This is Mary Ang Breakout 3 from a UCLA law conference, the 28th Amendment, that was put on with one of my favorite Harvard law professors, Lawrence Lessig, and he talks about corruption and politics. Really awesome guy. One of his most pivotal articles he wrote was an article called The Prosecutor as Bully, which I would allege went on in the case of Benjamin Pickering. It also is going on now with people like Rob West and David Keefe Davis and Charles Johnson for the suppression they have felt in what has been perceived as a Kafkaesque, Stalin-esque repression of their speaking rights and their rights to petition their government. So the Prosecutor as Bully article really opens up the notion that we can have prosecutorial misconduct or some kind of cultural translation that needs to go on to advocate for people who are being pushed to the brink of suicide or some other despair that they might find under unfair prosecution. So one of my main points right now is that in the wake of the Joe Cox killing in England, I think there's never been a greater time to get rid of Mark Kruger from the Portland police force. I am very concerned from a national security angle. I've brought this up numerous times. To me, after almost dying when Benjamin Pickering almost snapped my neck on June 2nd, has been very transformative. I've had a lot of spiritual realizations, and one of them is that I need to be activated as an activist. Like, I have to make every moment count, and this issue has bothered me a long time. I personally feel like my life is on the line when I enter your chambers because of the risk he puts on our government with issues. Oh, wait.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Disruptive.
The assassination of Anna Lindh was a famous assassination in Stockholm that I followed, or the assassination of Olof Palme. And I'm very concerned that our failure to assess security threats, and in terms of Mark Kruger, he's a violation of ADA. The Americans with Disability Act is being violated when a disabled person is scared to go to the neo-Nazi to report their sex crime. It could affect Civil Rights Act, Title IX. It can affect African Americans who maybe have a crime and they don't feel safe going to a man who's promised wanting to support eugenics and mass extermination of Portland citizens. We are being written about on an international basis by a neo-Nazi website that is internationalized, and that is Stormfront. The .de in the domain name registry is banned in Germany because they are considered such a serious terrorist threat. And I think we're very much up in arms about ISIS in Orlando and that sort of thing. But we need to take the neo-Nazi threat as it has infiltrated. They are bragging on Stormfront, neo-Nazi magazine, that the neo-Nazis have invaded the Portland police. There are numerous problems, as with the Rat's Tail article, which David Keefe Davis has brought up at the CRC committee. I'm also concerned from a workplace workers' rights advocacy standpoint that someone like James Young has been hired as a sort of an ingenue into the Portland way of doing things, and he is not sure why he's taking the fall with the baptism and this holy splash of holy water in his face, which essentially has provided a conversation opener to the larger issue of why the city of Portland would perpetrate this crime upon him that puts his life at risk, puts him up as a patsy to take a fall for a neo-Nazi. I basically threw him into my best, bottom basement of the Pentagon interrogation in terms of, do you support an enemy terrorist organization? Are you a neo-Nazi? Do you support the United States of America? His whole head was going like,
May I ask a clarifying question?
yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Who is James Young?
James Young is a figurehead dignitary in the CRC, which is the appellate body of the IPR. It is our understanding that IPR is a spy agency. All information harvested at IPR will be used against you in federal court. So that itself, we're supposed to say, oh, Portland's so great because we have this great, system of multiple bureaucracies. But the people have no faith in those bureaucracies because we've seen the damage done through the city attorney's office. Next issue, I really feel like you guys did Benjamin Pickering a disservice in putting a non-professional, non-registered, non-psychologist, non-nurse, non-lawyer on his case. The fact that it had to come to my life being almost lost for him to get a slot in Oregon State Hospital. He was on the brink of going to the Oregon State Hospital right before Dr. Fritz's death. And it was a very strange moment of the defense attorney minimizing my concerns, the judge erring on the side of a libertarian value of like the Olmstead Act and, oh, everyone should be as free as they want to terrorize. My mother and I were literally terrorized by his brain injury symptoms, his chronic traumatic encephalopathy type symptoms, and they frequently result in murder-suicide, which is a place he tried to take me numerous times. And you guys aren't the only ones who know this. The other people who know this are the Multnomah commissioners. And my standpoint with them on Thursday was, how about I just take all the blame? And if you guys want to help me out or reach out to me, that would be nice. But how about I just take the blame now, and we'll see if anybody else, and then I can just say the buck stops here. It's my fault. It's always the woman's fault that she's almost killed, that she's, many times he was on suicide by cop. I refrained from calling the police until I could get him de-escalated. If anything, I cherish my educational experience in dealing with radically violent, assaultive, mentally ill type behavior, but I know that no mental hospital would have cut me, like left me in that position. I would have had tech support, I would have had backup, I would have had security, I would have had bulletproof glass. And this whole absence of any kind of intervention, I mean, I know you're lucky, you're happy that I'm alive, and I am too. And I'm happy that he's getting the care he needs, but it didn't have to come to this, and I view it as sort of a great tragedy, if not malicious. I hope it wasn't malicious. I want to think that everyone's a good person and has a good heart. It was very difficult to deal with that. That'll be enough for now.
Okay, thank you, Mary. That was